Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why people keep steamrolling over you? Why they cut you off mid-sentence as if your thoughts don't count? Why, in a group, they somehow forget you're there? Everybody gets noticed except you. Why they sneer at your sensitivity, belittle your feelings, or, worst of all, treat you like a resource to be used up and then discarded? Maybe that's you, the one who's always on call, the person who says yes when you're drained, who stays quiet to dodge a fight, who forgives without an apology. And what do you get in return? Cold shoulders, dismissive glances, complete radio silence. Deep down, you know you're not being respected, but you don't see a way out of the loop, so you just keep accommodating. You keep giving, hoping that one day someone will finally see your value. Wake up. That day never comes, at least not until you make some changes. Jung warned, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Maybe that's why you're still stuck in this loop. Self-respect demands you look inward and admit your own part in this dynamic. As long as you ignore your own needs and boundaries, others will feel free to trample over them. This isn't about victimhood or empty affirmations. It's about uncovering the real root cause, one that lives in your own psychology. If you're weary of being overlooked by friends, family, partners, or colleagues, it's time to take responsibility for your emotional world. We'll draw on Jung's depth psychology to expose why you keep tolerating what's unacceptable and show you exactly how to break that pattern for good. Because every time you betray your own worth, you send an unspoken message. It's okay to treat me poorly. Only by stopping that betrayal can you demand and receive the dignity you deserve. Are you prepared to face the hard truth you've been avoiding? To say aloud the words you've never dared whisper to yourself or anyone else? If you're ready, this journey into Jung's insights will give you the clarity and courage to rewrite how you allow others to treat you. Let's begin. The chaos you see outside is really a mirror of what's happening inside you. And that's a truth most dodge. You blame others' rudeness on their selfishness or cruelty. But here's the hard part. They're simply responding to the space you give them. When you stay silent in the face of disrespect, when you let yourself be treated as less than, you're sending a message. This is acceptable to me. Jung taught that outer reality is nothing more than a reflection of your unconscious. Every slight, every cold shoulder, every cutting remark you endure isn't random. It's a symbolic enactment of how you're still at war with parts of yourself that you've buried. In other words, the world's disrespect is your own psyche's way of shouting, "Notice me." And until you bring those hidden fragments into the light, until you own your worth and set firm boundaries, you'll keep living in that mirrored disrespect. Until you claim your worth, you'll keep broadcasting a fragile, insecure signal, and people simply treat you as you've been showing up. This isn't about shaming you, it's about awakening you. The disrespect you endure may stem from the secret bargains you've struck with yourself over the years. Maybe you were taught that good meant quiet, that acceptance required constant compliance, that love demanded endless submission. Those childhood scripts still run on autopilot, whispering, "You're only worthy when you yield." Every choice, every relationship, every word you swallow is choreographed by that unconscious programming, "My value comes from their approval." But habits only hold power in the dark. Once you shine a light on these hidden beliefs, "I must be small to be loved. I must not rock the boat," you break their grip. You stop positioning yourself as someone less than, and you no longer settle for scraps of respect. From this newfound clarity, you can begin setting firm boundaries, speaking up when you're cut off, and walking away from those who persist in diminishing you. As long as those patterns live unconscious, the cycle perpetuates. But when you bring them into consciousness, you reclaim the dignity you deserve and finally end the loop. You can relocate, change jobs, even make new friends. But the same old pattern will follow you because it's wired into your psyche. Jung reminded us, what is not brought to consciousness manifests as fate. Until you examine how you truly see yourself, you'll keep attracting situations that replay your own invisibility. You don't draw in what you want. You draw in what you believe you deserve, even if that belief lurks buried in your unconscious. There is a way out, but it begins at the harshest crossroads. You must stop hunting for respect out there and start cultivating it within. That means confronting the most uncomfortable question of all, one most never dare to ask themselves, yet which will chart the course of your entire emotional life. Why are you still trying to prove your worth to others? You've spent a lifetime trying to prove you're enough, being the perfect child, the partner who never slips up, the friend who always accommodates. Sure, you've earned fleeting praise, but true respect, rarely. People who live to please inevitably become easy marks because they broadcast, "You can bend me any way you like." This is the cruel trap of external validation, one of the most insidious forces in our psyche. Jung called the persona the social mask we wear to fit in. It's essential for navigating the world, but deadly if we mistake it for our true self. Over-identifying with that mask chokes out your essence, turning you into a polite ghost, always agreeable, never truly seen or respected. Wanting to belong is human. It drives us to connect. But when your identity hinges on applause, every compliment becomes fuel and every criticism a dagger. Your self-worth hangs by the whims of others. A kind word inflates you. A harsh glance devastates you. You push yourself to be indispensable, flawless, irreplaceable, because somewhere deep down, you've come to believe that only perfection merits respect. It doesn't. Real respect springs not from bending yourself into someone else's ideal, but from standing firmly in your own truth. Mask off, essence intact. Only then will you stop trading your soul for empty approval and begin demanding the dignity you already deserve. But here's the brutal truth. The harder you scramble to prove you're worthy, the louder you shout to the world that you don't believe it already. Those who truly respect themselves don't beg for attention, don't tally up favors, hoping for love in return. They rest in a quiet confidence, knowing who they are is enough. They aren't terrified of disappointing others because they grasp that sometimes integrity demands saying no. To get there, you must shatter the deep-seated myth that respect is something you have to earn from others. You already deserve it. What you really need to rebuild is the respect you gave away, maybe decades ago, maybe always. Once you reclaim that self-respect, the opinions of others become mere echoes, not shackles. Making that shift hinges on one deceptively simple but terrifying act: learning to say no. In the next part, we'll explore that pivotal moment when you begin drawing boundaries and finally place yourself at the center of your own life. Because genuine respect, for yourself and from others, starts the moment you dare to refuse what betrays your worth. You've been taught that good means never rocking the boat, that love demands total self-sacrifice, and that anyone who dares draw a line is selfish, cold, or unkind. So each time your boundaries are crossed, you swallow the hurt. Each time you're taken for granted, you stay silent. Each time you're wounded, you forgive, often before the other even realizes the damage they've done. You tell yourself it's maturity, compassion, balance, but in reality, you're erasing yourself bit by bit. Here's the hard truth. The world won't honor someone who won't honor themselves. Respect isn't handed out, it's claimed, not through force or vengeance, but through clarity and unwavering firmness. You don't negotiate for respect, you impose it by standing your ground. And it starts with a two-letter word you've been conditioned to fear: no. That simple refusal is the first act of self-respect, the hinge on which your entire emotional life pivots. Once you learn to say no to what diminishes you, you reclaim the space to say yes to what truly matters. Saying no is your first unmistakable declaration of self-respect. It tells the world, and more importantly, yourself, that your boundaries are non-negotiable, your energy isn't for sale, your time is precious, and your well-being matters. But to reach that moment, you must outgrow the guilt that floods in the instant you refuse someone who's grown comfortable exploiting your compliance. That guilt will whisper doubts, urging you back to the safety of yes. Jung taught that individuation, the journey to your true self, demands confrontation. One of your earliest battles is against the version of you who learned that survival meant pleasing everyone. That version believes acceptance only comes through endless acquiescence. Yet that acceptance carries a steep toll: your dignity, your authenticity, even your identity itself. So decide right now, where will you swap sure for no? Decline the tasks that choke you. Step away from relationships that drain you. Politely refuse obligations born of habit, not desire. You'll notice that the people who've long taken advantage will bristle, your limits mirror their misuse, and that stings. But this necessary discomfort is the price of reclaiming your power. Each no to the world is a yes to yourself, a powerful affirmation of your own authority, your voice, and a brand new way of being that needs no one's permission. But there's an even more insidious force keeping you from erecting those walls, and it lives in the parts of yourself you refuse to acknowledge. It hides in your shadow, the emotions, impulses, and needs you've repressed, denied, or tried to bury. Yet those very aspects, left unaddressed, are what silently steer your choices and keep you locked in patterns of submission. Until you bring that hidden material into consciousness, until you own the anger you've stuffed down, the resentment you've rationalized away, the longing you've called weakness, you'll keep turning a blind eye to the boundaries you so desperately need. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how your shadow fuels this cycle of self-betrayal and submission, and why genuine freedom begins only when you integrate the parts you've banished. Why do you put up with things that clearly hurt you? Why do you cling to friendships that sap your energy, stay in relationships that leave you spent, or remain in places where you must hide your true self just to fit in? Why do you let people interrupt you, dismiss you, overload you, or wrong you, and say nothing? The answer lies not only in childhood wounds or present circumstances, but deep within your shadow. Jung called the shadow the repository of everything you've repressed. Those emotions, urges, traits, and longings you learned were wrong, ugly, or unacceptable. You're the child who was scolded for saying no, so you became obedient. You're the one punished for showing anger, so you wear a smile as you swallow tears. You're the one whose cries for attention went unanswered, so you became invisible to avoid trouble. All these disowned parts live in your shadow, silently shaping your tolerance for disrespect. Until you reclaim and integrate them, you'll keep shrinking yourself to avoid conflict, while your true needs go unheard. In the next part, we'll explore how recognizing and embracing your shadow is the key to breaking free from these self-defeating patterns, and finally demanding the dignity you've always deserved. And so you learned early on to craft a polite, accommodating mask, while you buried every ounce of your true power, your rightful anger, your instinct to protect yourself, your fierce, enough is enough. But what you bury doesn't vanish. It festers in the unseen depths of your psyche. Your shadow, the repressed part of you, grows stronger each time you quell your voice. It's that inner voice that murmurs, "Better stay quiet," whenever you try to stand up for yourself. It's the sudden paralysis in your gut when you want to say no more. Count the times you bit your tongue instead of speaking up. The moments you swallowed your pride to keep a peace that never honored you. The occasions you let someone overstep your limits and afterward felt used, small, and ashamed. You tolerate the intolerable because you haven't reclaimed what you surrendered: your right to firmness, your anger at mistreatment, your need for respect. You've been conditioned to believe that love demands passivity, that keeping a relationship intact means erasing yourself. That lie, born of old wounds and outdated programming, runs in the background of your mind. And until you confront it head-on, you'll keep replaying the same painful script in every new setting. In the next part, we'll uncover how to bring those buried parts back into the light so you can finally assert your worth and never settle for less again. Every time you meet new people, the story repeats. You join a new team, and the old sting of being taken for granted resurfaces. You enter a fresh romance, only to feel invisible all over again. Picture this. You bend over backwards, helping someone, staying late at work, covering shifts, running errands, hoping they'll finally notice your effort. Instead, you're met with indifference or an endless list of, "Could you do one more thing?" And you swallow your frustration, replaying the injustice in your head, or recall that moment someone publicly undermined you, a colleague, a friend, a partner, and instead of standing your ground, you forced a smile and told yourself, "It's not worth it." That forced calm wasn't maturity. It was surrender masquerading as composure. Jung reminds us, what you refuse to acknowledge in yourself will rule you. Your suppressed anger becomes automatic acquiescence. Your smothered backbone turns into trembling doubt. Your silenced voice breeds constant unease. As long as you keep running from these buried parts of yourself, you'll remain at everyone else's mercy, waiting for someone to treat you the way you refuse to treat yourself. There is a path forward, one that demands real bravery, reuniting with the parts of yourself you've long buried. This isn't about turning cold or hard. It's about becoming complete, and that's what we'll explore next. Before you can insist on being respected, you must first reclaim your own inner authority, starting in the one place you've been avoiding. True respect isn't something you demand from the outside. It's forged inside you through deliberate daily choices. If you're tired of being treated like an afterthought, it's time to act as someone of real worth. There's no quick fix. This takes ongoing, mindful effort. Over the next 5 steps, I'll share practical, actionable tools you can begin using immediately to restore your self-respect and, as a result, the respect you receive from everyone around you. Let's dive in. 1. Use discomfort as your North Star. Whenever something feels off, an uneasy pit in your gut, a tightening in your chest, pause. Don't smooth it over or make excuses for their behavior. Instead, ask, if I truly honored myself right now, what would I do? Maybe it's exiting the conversation, muting their messages, or simply saying, I need a moment. That twinge of discomfort is your body's alarm, warning you you've crossed your own line. 2. Ditch the over-justifications. You don't owe anyone a novel every time you say no. Long explanations signal guilt and insecurity, fuel for boundary crossers. True self-respect sounds like, I can't. That won't work for me. I'm not comfortable. Period. When others demand your reasoning, know they're used to exploiting your doubt. 3. Schedule yourself back into your day. Open your weekly calendar and hunt for slots marked You Time. If none exist, that's your wake-up call. Block out at least 1 daily hour, no compromises, for whatever feeds your mind, body, or soul. A walk, a hobby, meditation. Treat it as non-negotiable. Over time, protecting that slot will reprogram your unconscious. You matter. 4. Swap impulsive reactions for deliberate pauses. When someone cuts you off or speaks over you, your gut might urge you to snap back or push everything down. Neither serves you. Instead, hit the mental brakes. Inhale, count to 3, then speak your truth calmly. That interruption felt disrespectful. I'd like to finish. No apologies. No, I'm sorry you feel that way. Just a clear statement of your experience. By pausing first, you reclaim your power and teach others that your voice matters. 5. Curate your inner circle. Take stock of who you spend your time with. Do these people energize and uplift you or drain you? Are they there when you celebrate but vanish when you struggle? Real respect starts in your ecosystem. Gradually pull back from those who only tap your resources and gravitate toward those who honor your boundaries and cheer on your growth. Those who value you will make space, and those who don't were never truly seeing you anyway. These steps aren't magic. They're muscle memory for your self-respect. Years of people-pleasing and silent survival don't vanish overnight. But each time you honor your discomfort, hold your no, breathe before you speak, and surround yourself with genuine allies, you wire a new default, one where disrespect simply can't land. Keep at it, and watch how your world reshapes itself around the respect you finally demand and deserve. There's one more barrier you must confront: the fear of standing alone. Emotional dependence is the final chain that drags you back into old habits. In the next section, we'll dig into this, because genuine respect only blooms when you stop needing someone else's approval to know your own value. It's time to quit blaming others for how they treat you. Quit waiting for that friend, partner, or colleague to suddenly see you or honor you. Reality isn't blind. It simply mirrors how you show up. You crave being heard, yet you muzzle your voice. You long for appreciation, yet you settle for scraps. You wish to matter, yet you keep putting yourself last, and then wonder why no one notices you. Here's the brutal truth. It's not chance or bad people that trap you. It's the unexamined programs running beneath your awareness. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The disrespect you endure, the toxic cycles you repeat, the voices that drown out yours, they're not curses. They're signposts, pointing back to the relationship you have with yourself. Only when you break those inner patterns will the world finally treat you the way you've started treating yourself. True change never happens out there. It happens in here. You don't need to turn into an ice queen or a heartless warrior to earn respect. You simply need to stop trading yourself for others' approval. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that drown your true self. Most of all, make friends with solitude, real, unafraid alone time, because only those who can sit with their own company know they're already whole, and only the whole can freely choose their company. From now on, every time someone steps over your line, you have a choice. Stay quiet and let the old script play, or speak up and edit your own story. You don't need fireworks or aggression. You just need honesty. When you start honoring yourself, your energy shifts, your posture straightens, your gaze deepens, and the world can't help but take notice. Respect isn't begged for. It radiates from within, and then it becomes irresistible. If this hit a nerve, if you felt something stir deep down, let us know below by writing, "I choose me." Let that be your first public vow to yourself, and if you're ready to go even deeper, keep watching. The next video will guide you further into reclaiming your own life. You owe it to yourself to continue.